Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is Dana from Masterland Investing. I hope you guys are all having a great week. I just want to tell you guys, I really appreciate you guys' participation. As a teacher trying to share some great information, it truly excites when you guys reach out, have questions, even make comments. It makes my teaching a lot easier. It inspires me as well. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. What I want to talk about a little bit today is a term I use quite often. It gets me actually excited. It's the term mailbox money. What I mean by mailbox money is with this land investing business, one of the niches in the business would be doing owner financing, buying properties at a discount, turning around and selling on owner financing with no money, low money down, no credit check, certain interest rate. I've done it for a lot of years, and I believe it's probably one of the best ways to create passive income. It's a great way to do that. I talked about in one of my lessons, there was a time a few years back that had a handful of properties, market was crashing. I turned around and sold them on owner financing. Actually sold when nobody else was buying. I created a little over $11,000 a month income in the mailbox every month for a period of 10 years. The notes didn't go to full term because the market shifted quite a bit, and I actually sold some of the notes to pay off debt. But at the end of the day, it's a great strategy. It's a niche part of the business. If you're in a position that you have a little cash, and it doesn't take much, like I've said in these videos, you can typically start out with $500 or $1,000 properties. Try to tie them up. If you can, do a self-close and save you some money on that end. So for instance, you're buying $500 properties and you have $600, $700 invested on each deal that you've closed. Turn around, get creative, think about that potential person that wants to own the American dream, maybe a young couple, older couple, looking for a particular area in the country that you may be farming, and try to present it in such a way, like I say, be creative. And what you're going to do is you're going to solicit that property to them and let them know. Easy terms, no credit check, $100 a month, and maybe what I try to do typically, some people do a little different, but I typically try to get my initial investment back on the deposit. So say you're buying properties at $500, you have $600 or $700 in total with closing, everything else, you did your self-closing. You might have hired someone to do a title search for $100 maybe. You can even do it yourself online nowadays. There's great resources online. But anyways, let's look at that scenario. $700 you have invested. You're targeting an audience where the market for that particular property in a certain area is anywhere they're selling from $2,000 to $3,000. So one way to make more sales and convert to passive income, which would be mailbox money, is I always say you can increase the sale price a little bit, because you're doing terms, you're making it convenient for a lot of people that don't have the cash, don't have a steady income that they can afford to throw away or put out a lot of money for extra bills each month. So you take that $700 investment, you put it online, use a multitude of resources. I like to hit a lot of them at once, that way you get a lot of eyeballs seeing your offers. And you sell it with either $500 down, $700 down, and then you create, and depends on your interest rate, I typically go anywhere from 9 to 12%. And the reason I do that is only because I'm doing them a favor. I'm going to make it easy terms for them. I'm not checking their credit. I've got to put the time in to find the property. So say, for instance, you're doing it at 10% interest rates, $500 down. So on the front end, you're out $200. What you would do to save money on the other end, once you get a purchase from somebody or somebody that's interested, you go ahead and just sell them, send them a contract for deed. You can do that yourself. I'll show you how in the course. This way, it's no cost in your end. You shoot that over to them, get it signed, get it back, put that in your file. You don't record that until the property is purchased, their last payment. Then you record the deed and their warranty deed in their name. But this way, for instance, you take that property, you got $500-700 invested. The market's anywhere from $2 to $3 grand, average retail on the retail end of sales. You sell that property for $3,900, for instance. Easy terms, no credit check, 5-year or 4-year, whatever you decide to do. I typically like to make my payments on my end, receivable end, about $100 a month. So I don't have a calculator in front of me, but this is just a scenario that you can do. $500 down, easy payments, no credit check. You increase that price to $3,900, so they come with $500 as a downstroke for a deposit, which is pretty affordable for most people to acquire the American dream. They're paid over time with no credit. Then they will owe $3,400 on terms with an interest rate. So that may stretch out to 4 years. You can do an amortization schedule pretty easy online. I do it on my phone most times. It's real quick, takes me about a minute. Put in the numbers, come up with a monthly payment, amortized over a period of time. So you look at your numbers, you come out with $100 a month for maybe 4 years. Well, at the end of that 4 years, like I said, you're going to record that deed in their name. But remember, what's happened is now you've created $100 a month in your mailbox consistently, and you're making more than that original retail sale price of $39 because you're getting interest on that property as well, and you're getting 10% interest. So, for instance, that may be that $3,400 may end up being $4,400 over that 4 years at $100 a month. So you've made the first deal, you've recouped $500 back, so you're down $200. 2 months into their payment schedule, you've recouped that money. And the way it works, and I've done in the past, is with a little bit of money to work with, and you're targeting a particular area, you can just do that over and over again. It's like a lot of business, it's just multiples. Like Cardone says, multiples of 10 times that income. And it's kind of that same example. What you're going to do is you're going to recoup your money on the downstroke, 95% of it. You're out a couple hundred. You send them a contract for deed. They're making payments. After 2 or 3 months, you've recouped your initial investment, and you're putting that back into the next property. When I referred to years ago when I did it, I had about 40, I think about almost 50 properties that I was financing over a period of 10 years. I think the average payment they were paying me was about $200-something a month, something like that. It was a little over $11,000 a month I was collecting in the mailbox. So think about that. I mean, that's a great way to create passive income. Like I say, mailbox money. You may just want to do this part-time. You master that particular niche of the market. You find some good farm areas. You do your due diligence. You build a team up. You have a title company if you're going to do big higher-end stuff. But typically, if you're doing the low-end 500 to 1,000, you can do it all yourself. And it may be that you want to buy a nice car. Simple as that. But you can't find a way. You can't find a means. There's not enough meat on the bone at the end of the month with the money that you make to make that car payment. So you say, geez, my dream car is like $600 a month. So that means you got to do 6 properties, and you have your loan for 5 years. So you find properties that you can stretch over the period of 5-year finance terms, and that will create your payment. I mean, it's as simple as that. I tell my kids that, and hopefully they'll eventually apply these lessons that I teach them. They get it all for free. But you know how young people are. A lot of times they just don't hear you, or at least you don't think they do. Like myself when I was young, my dad used to say, you don't hear a damn thing, Dane, do you? You're stoned all the time. You don't give a shit about anything, and you don't hear me, do you? Well, he was my mentor, and I listened to every damn word he said. I may not have had that intelligent look on my face. He used to accuse me of having a stupid mental Milton look on my face. Like, I'm all high, I don't know what's going on when I was a kid. Well, surprisingly enough, when I got older and I told him some of the stuff he taught me, he was very amazed that I heard everything. So remember, people hear it, and if your kids are listening and you're trying to teach your kids what you've learned in business, they hear you. It may take them a while to apply it. They may never apply it, but they're hearing you. So continue to teach, continue to preach. I believe that wholeheartedly. But getting back to that mailbox money, this is a great way. It's a nice little niche market. I've said in videos, listen, don't get into your own financing until you have enough cash stacked up. But if you're doing lower end properties, $500,000, $1,500 properties, a lot of times you can recoup your money pretty quick. I would suggest to stay $1,000 under on the purchase price. So you're looking at properties that may retail, if you're buying them for $1,000, they may retail close to $4,000. You're trying to get them for $1,000. You can even do the $500 down, and then in 5 payments you recouped your money. So you may have 3.5, 4.5 years left on receivables. That's really basically free money. I talked about it in a video that will be published probably next week, that I did it a couple years back just to show somebody in my life how this worked. Created about just under $500 a month for 3 or 4 years. And it was lickety split. Didn't take me no time to do it. I actually went back and solicited the original buyer for the first finance deal. And sold him the second one because I knew he had a little cash flow in his own business. And like everybody, he wanted the American dream. He wanted someplace where he lived. Need property to store some of his, I guess he had a landscaping business, store some of his equipment. I had a couple great talks with him. Eventually his goal is to clear the property, put a building on it. So, in essence, it's a good feeling because you're helping somebody out. You help them achieve the American dream. In turn, you create Mailbox Money, which is a wonderful cash stream. And I always say to a lot of people, listen, I'll show you a way to make that payment. I'll show you a way to make that payment for health insurance. You learn the tools, you get the lessons, you become very proficient and efficient at what you do. Don't try to cover the whole gamut of real estate investing. There's a lot of factors, a lot of different options. Retail, wholesale, speculative long-term investments. I think as you become a student and a true student, you continue to learn. What I've done over time is a lot of times I'll apply certain things according to a certain market, sometimes long-term, sometimes the wholesale end of it. When you have a good buyer's list and you've built up a good buyer's list in some of your farm areas, it's a pretty simple method. You tie them up on a 90-day close, you contact your buyer's list, let them know, first come, first serve. Like I always said, don't get greedy. Don't try to squeeze every bit of blood out of the stone. Give it away a little cheaper. This way that buyer knows that you're going to supply him or that builder with great deals. He isn't going to go out there and solicit. In this case, you're not paying commissions. You're doing a one-on-one. Higher end stuff, I always recommend have a realtor on your team, in your pocket. And be upfront with them. I say be transparent with everybody. Be sincere, be real. What you say, you mean it. You stand behind your word. But believe me when I tell you, when you're dealing with people in this business and they can tell that you're a straight up person, you're sincere about what you say, they'll work with you. And clarify with a realtor if you're going to use a realtor in some of these deals and they're going to sell some of your own financing. Here's who I am, here's my plan. I'd love to have you on a team. If you're willing to work with me, you got to get out there, contact your buyers list, shake the trees, ruffle the feathers. And here's what I want to work with you. If you're an independent, a lot of times it works good if you work with a realtor that's the broker / realtor, so the commission's going to them and they just have to do a split with the buyer's agent a lot of times. So they're the listing agent, and then there's a buyer agent, but you can stroke a much better deal when you work with somebody that's in-house broker agent as one. So remember that. But that's the lesson for today, guys. Real simple lesson, real quick. I don't want to drag on. I just thought about that. Like I said, I'm always thinking about great information for you guys so I can put out good, solid content for you guys. All tools in your box. Think about that option. I don't want you guys to shy away from this business because you don't think you have enough money. You don't have the confidence. Get your tools in your box. Learn the lessons. Get out there. Get your feet wet, like I always say. But thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't. Continue to ask questions. Continue to make comments. I get excited every comment I see. I really do. If you haven't hit the like button, please do if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me. If anything, it helps motivate me. Makes me continue to want to just create great stuff for you guys. So thanks again. Go out there. Be generous with your time. If you can, try to inspire some today. You guys have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, every Saturday we post a great podcast. Typically, we try to post them around noontime, give or take. Not always a perfect time scenario, but somewhere around noontime. So just go on to Masterland Investing podcast and you'll find it online. So thank you guys. Have a great week. Be safe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.